3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
So before I get underway with my traditional intro, I've just got to give a big shout out to Hunley Park Elementary, which turned that intro into like the most epic dance party. Way to go, you guys. All right, my name is Jesse Hildebrand. I'm here with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. And if you're joining us for the first time, like quite a few of you are, we are all about bringing conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world. And you're catching us on an epic day. We've got back-to-back animal programs today. Later on, we're joined live with the Vermont Institute with like raptors and owls on the arm. That's going to be super awesome. Like everything we do, it's going to be on our YouTube channel with like 4,000 other videos. So lots to explore and discover there. But today we are underway with one of my all-time favorite topics. Before I introduce it, I want to note we have a Kahoot today. So between our talk and our Q&A, you can play along with a little 4-question quiz with that game pen. So feel free to bring that up on a separate tab. And get ready on StreamYard and YouTube because we are going to have lots of interactivity in the middle of the program. I'm going to call upon you classes, so get those fingers on the keyboard to get ready and answer some fun queries. Now, as you all know, as the 660 of you from BC to Florida and Texas to Maine, we've got groups in Mexico and Nicaragua today. We're all over the place. You're here because we are talking about sharks of the world. Sharks are one of the coolest groups of animals on this planet. And today we are going to learn what makes them so cool. So I'm going to zip it and turn you over to Mala at OceanWise, one of the coolest ocean organizations in the world, for her to blow your mind and tell you all about these denizens of the deep. Mala, thank you so much for coming and take us away.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Jesse. Hello, everybody. My name is Mala. I work for a wonderful organization called OceanWise, and I get to talk to you from the wonderful Toronto, Ontario today, which is the traditional territory of many different nations, including the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat people. This land is also home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. And before getting my program started, I just wanted to honor and extend my thank you to the communities who have been here since time immemorial, taking care of our wonderful, beautiful land, sea, and sky. Now, 2 things about me. I absolutely love ocean animals, of course, and 2 of my favorite ocean animals are whale sharks and nudibranchs. And whale sharks are a type of shark, for sure. Despite their name, it can be a little bit misleading. They're super, super cool. They are the largest fish in our ocean, and they have these really beautiful spotted patterns on their body. And I also love nudibranchs, which are super, super tiny little ocean snails or slugs that like to, float around, and they can be found in every part of the ocean. And they come in so many beautiful colors, shapes, sizes, patterns, and some of them even glow in the dark. And I think they're so, so cute. Today, I get to talk to you all about not only the ocean, but one of the coolest animals to probably ever exist on land or in the ocean, honestly. Today we're going to talk about sharks, and we're going to talk about exactly what Jesse mentioned, what makes sharks so cool. But before getting started, I want to give you an opportunity to talk to me a little bit, and I want to know, if you were an ocean animal, what ocean animal would you be? Would you be one of these guys, or maybe one that's not listed here? What do you think? Jesse, how about you?
I don't know. We're on a shark program, so I think I have to opt for shark, but humpback whales are pretty cool. I've seen humpback whales in the wild off the coast of Newfoundland where I live now. It's pretty amazing. So you know what? Whales win today. We've got blobfish is our first answer. Yes. The fact that blobfish took off the way they did, that everybody knows a blobfish, is one of the great joys as a biologist of all time. Like Absolutely. No one, when we were kids, like no one knew about blobfish. Now everyone's like, oh, blobfish. So great answer. What do we think, Mrs. Paget's class? What do you want to be? Oh, and unmute. Yes, everyone keep your mics unmuted. And then we'll hear you. Otter or shark. Way to go. Good options. All right. We got sharks. We got whales in the YouTube chat. We got all sorts of stuff. These are good answers, guys.
there's no wrong answer, you know. There's incredible animals in our ocean, and honestly, being any one of them would be pretty sweet. Today I'm feeling pretty chill, pretty relaxed. Maybe I'd be a jellyfish so I could just kind of drift along with the ocean. You know, I think those are the vibes I'm kind of feeling. My friends, as I mentioned, I work for a lovely organization called OceanWise, and we are a nonprofit based out of Vancouver, British Columbia. And we are on a mission to empower communities and people like you to take action to protect and restore our world's ocean. Our ocean is going through a lot of different things right now, and we're trying to tackle three main issues that include ocean pollution, overfishing, and climate change. Now, these are three things that you all have probably heard about before. And today, as we're going through the Sharks program, I want you to think of ways that all three of these might connect to sharks and to the ocean, right? Maybe at the end, we'll have some time to discuss it. Now, as I mentioned, our ocean is facing a variety of threats. Some of these OceanWise is working towards solving, and these threats can include plastic pollution, overfishing, even natural disasters, right? These can all be things that are impacting our ocean worldwide. Now, the ocean is incredibly diverse and extremely beautiful. We're all connected to each other through our rivers and our streams. It doesn't matter where we live. We all need water, and we're all connected to each other through our water. We use water as a source of food, medicine. It inspires culture, and it produces most of the oxygen that we breathe. So taking care of our ocean and our water systems is really, really important. Today, I'm going to introduce you to what we like to call the superhero of the reef, which is sharks. We're going to learn more about them, and hopefully we can all look at the different ways that we can try and protect these species because they play a really important role in ocean health. So to get started, I need all of your classrooms, wherever you are, get ready to type in your answers or unmute yourself if you're muted right now. We're going to jump into some shark trivia where I'm going to test your knowledge and see how much we know about sharks. All right, getting started out with our first question here, a little bit of a confusing one. Can some sharks walk on land?
Okay, I'm going to be going to all our classes sort of beat by beat here. So Bayside Public School, our grade 3s, true or false? What do we think?
True? True.
True. False. True. False. True. False.
Oh, we're all over the place. We don't know at all. Oh, I love it. Hunley Park Elementary, what do you guys think? Wow, so much false. I like the big X's. And then on YouTube, it's like this exact mix. 50-50, true or false? What is it? Tell us.
50. You know, my friends, I'm loving the use of our body. You know, show us your thumbs up and your thumbs down. It's great as well. My friend, the answer is shocking. It shocked me when I learned this as well. It is actually true. There are some sharks that walk on land. Don't worry. You're not going to see a great white shark parked at a red light beside you. Don't worry. It is actually epaulet sharks. So the shark that's in the background over here, these guys are fairly small, maybe like the size of your arm. Maybe they can grow to sometimes. They have these beautiful spots, and they use this coloration on their skin to camouflage with a lot of the ocean floor. Sometimes at nighttime when the tide rolls in and you know, a bunch of fish get stuck on land when the tide goes back, these guys like to push themselves on land using their fins and kind of push themselves and propel themselves through the land and gobble up any fish that might be stuck on land trying to find their way back at sea. So they're not going to stay out there for too long, only for a little bit. They'll make their way back into the ocean after they've gotten their fill. But yes, these guys are known to kind of walk on land, if you will. Great guesses, great energy as well. Next question here. Is a shark egg casing called? Do we think it's called an eggshell, a shark case, a pup case, or a mermaid's purse? Feel free to show us on your fingers or yell it out when we pull you up on screen.
Ooh. I'm going to head to our class, Mr. Nunez's class. What do you think?
Fingers. What do you say? Fingers.
Shark case.
Shark case. Shark case.
Ooh, shark case. A lot of A and B. How about Miss Becky's class? 1, 2s. If you want to unmute your mic, what do we think? A, B.
Shark case. What? Shark case.
Shark case. A lot of shark cases. They're all so wrong, and I love how they're wrong because the right answer is the best one. Tell us more.
You'd think it would be a shark case, right? Like it's a safe bet, but we scientists sometimes we like to get a little creative. We like to have a little bit of fun. So the correct term for a shark egg casing is actually a mermaid's purse. I don't know why we call it a mermaid's purse. Maybe it's because we know not a lot about sharks and we don't know a lot about their egg casings. And mermaids are fictional, but maybe because of the mystery and the lore that goes behind them, some scientists decided to call it mermaid's purse. But they're stunning. They're so beautiful. They have this gorgeous color to them. And when you shine a light on it, like there is in this picture, you can actually see the babies growing inside. So these are mermaid's purses and they come in different shapes and sizes and patterns. And they're so cool. All right, next question here. I'm throwing you folks off with a couple of these questions. What do we think this next one is? What is the largest organ in the body of a shark?
Yes. Well, Mr. Southward's class, if you guys want to unmute your mic and you can yell it out what you think, liver, brain, stomach, or kidney. YouTubers, you can keep chiming in as well. We'll head to all our classes. I want to make sure we get our last few here. Miss Paget's class, I'll come to you while we're waiting for Mr. Southward. What do we think? A and B, a lot of A and B, liver or brain, super brain sharks. That'd be cool. Let's see on our chat too. We've got liver, we've got kidney, we've got another liver. Liver seems to be the most common, and I think they might have a point to be made there.
Oh, wonderful. My friends, unfortunately, my screen has frozen, so I can't see all you, but I hope you can still see me. If you guessed A, if you guessed liver, you are absolutely correct. It is, in fact, the liver. The liver is responsible for breaking down those proteins and breaking down your food. And sharks are eating such big, fatty animals. They need to make sure they have a nice, strong liver in order to do that so that they can really properly process its food and its nutrients. So, of course, the liver is going to be the largest organ in the body of a shark, for sure. All right, next question. How many senses do sharks have? We as humans have 5 senses, but how many do we think sharks have? Do they have the same amount of senses as us? Do they have 5 senses, 6 senses, 7, or 10? What do we think?
What do we think? Ella just looks super happy to get your answer with this, which is kind of fun. I'm going to wait for our chat. Oh, Hunley Park, you guys have so many hands up. Go for it. Yell out. Tell me. What do you think? We got a lot of 5. We got 5s. We got 6s. We got 7. We got D. We got 10. We got all of them. But I'd say 6 is our main answer so far. That's good. Yeah.
All right, 6 is close. You're close. You're almost there. The correct answer, my friends, is indeed 7. They have 2 more senses than we as humans do. And that's also part of the reason why we love to call them superheroes of the reef, is because, they also have these really cool superpowers that are going to, help them be called superheroes of the reef, right? You can't be a superhero without superpowers. All right, so my friends, as we know, from this trivia, sharks are super, super cool, and they have wonderful and unique adaptations that have evolved over time, and they connect a lot to people around the world as well. For example, the Torres Strait Islander people really have a deep connection to sharks. They have a history where they see sharks as creator beings and sometimes even as their ancestors. And sharks are reflected in their art, in their music, and in their literature. And in some Pacific Islander communities, families believe that spirits of their ancestors would appear in the form of sharks. And if sharks sometimes were to chase a fish into a net, say when they were fishing, it's like a sign that their family has come here in the form of their shark and they're guiding the fish into the net. Now, obviously, not all of the families thought this way, right? Not all of the families thought that sharks were, family members or ancestors. But for the families who did, killing and eating sharks was a form of disrespect. So a lot of these communities really respect and take care of sharks. Now, most sharks around the world are known for their really, really sharp teeth. But this shark is very, very special. It is called a basking shark, and it's actually a type of filter feeder along with whale sharks. So these guys don't actually have the same really sharp serrated teeth that other sharks will have. These guys will gulp down a bunch of water, and they will filter through a bunch of tiny little shrimp and krill and tiny little fishies, and they will eat that and push the water out. So that's what they're going to eat. They're going to kind of swim around with this mouth wide open, which is kind of scary. These guys in specific were hunted to extreme rarity, so almost to complete extinction along British Columbia. But we're hoping that their population can return, and they're still present in a lot of other parts of the world. Some sharks are so cool that they can even use something called bioluminescence, which is when animals pretty much learn how to produce their own source of light. And we're looking at the swell shark here. It looks a little bit like the epaulet shark, but these guys are known to absorb light and then put it out in a different wavelength so that it looks like they're glowing in the dark, which is absolutely incredible. Sharks are so cool, and they've been around since the time of the dinosaurs. But something really interesting about them is that we actually don't know too much about them. This footage that I'm about to show you here is one that I actually featured for the first time last year with Exploring by the Sea of Your Pants. I think it had come out 3 days before our broadcast last year. But this time now, it's been around a year since this video came out. And this is the first ever footage of a newborn baby great white shark that has ever been captured by a scientist. So this is really rare footage that we are seeing here. And he's so small, and he's so cute, and he's just swimming around. My friends, the great white shark birthing process is one of the ocean's largest mysteries. And capturing this video is taking us scientists one step closer to understanding what exactly is going on in our ocean. The researcher and storyteller, Carlos, is hoping to change the perception that great white sharks get in the media because, as you folks know, sharks don't always get the best rep. Unfortunately, in the media, sharks have been portrayed as these really dangerous, vicious, scary animals. In your classrooms, feel free right now to maybe just raise your hand, and by show of hand, just show us, how many of you are maybe scared of sharks, and take a look around. Maybe a couple of hands might go up. I know I used to be very, very scared of sharks when I was younger. All right, if you raise your hand, you can put it down. My friends, there is absolutely not much to be scared of with sharks. Of course, they can be scary and they have big teeth, but sharks, like everything else on our planet, are just trying to survive. And they're actually very curious animals, kind of like puppies. For example, when puppies try to get to know you, they might come up to you and they might take a little sniff, or they might give you a little kiss or a little nibble because they're trying to get to know you. And sharks do the same thing. They're just very curious and they want to know, who you are. They don't really see us in the ocean too much. So when they do see us, they might get a little bit curious. Now, Bayside Public School is asking, how small would that baby great white shark have been? If I can give us rough measurements. That's a great question. I'm not sure. Great white sharks can be absolutely massive. They can be like 8 to 10 meters long. So even the babies, I'm sure, are still pretty large. Maybe this is a question that I can email an answer to later. Thank you so much for your wonderful question. That's a good one. All right, my friends, I have another question here. On average, how many people do we think are killed by sharks every year? Do we think it could be 10 people, 100 people, 1,000, or 10,000?
So I'd love to hear your answers. Wow, 10, a bunch of people saying 10 right off the bat. That's fantastic. Let's see what our YouTubers say. Miss Becky's class, 1, 2. Do you guys want to chime in? You can unmute your mic, and Mr. Nunez, we'll head to you first. What do we think? Never has there been a louder scream about the number of people killed by sharks in here being low. Almost everyone says 10, which is fantastic. And then 100 is our only other option. Nice.
Wonderful. Well, if you're guessing how many people are killed by sharks every year and you guessed 10, you are absolutely correct. On average, only around 10 people are being killed by shark attacks every single year. But what if we flip that question? On average, how many sharks are being killed by people every year? Do we think it's 10 sharks, 100 sharks, 100,000 sharks, or 100 million sharks? What do we think?
Let's see. Our Bayside Public School. Do you guys want to yell it out? What do we think? $100. How about Miss Hurley's class, grade 7s? Let's see.
100,000.
100,000. Okay, 100 or 100,000 so far. I think they might be a little off.
All right, 100,000, my friends. The answer is going to surprise you, and it's really, really unfortunate and sad. The correct answer is actually number 4. It is over 100 million sharks being killed every single year, and this is due to many different things that we're going to explore a little bit today. My friends, sharks are really, really under attack, and we have to do what we can to protect them because, as I mentioned, hopefully by the end of today's program, we will understand how important they are to our ocean. And in order to really understand how important they are, we're going to explore 3 main things. We're going to take a look at why sharks are such good predators. We're going to look at why they are important in the ocean. And then we're going to look at some actions that we can take to help sharks. Now, in order to do that, we are going to look at our wonderful graph here. We have a swimming shark right here, and we have 3 areas that we can explore. And I will let you all pick. Maybe we can call in our classroom or you can message us in the chat. Which area would you like to explore first? A,
What do
B,
we
or
think?
C?
Get it in the chat. Get it in the chat. Whatever gets first wins. Let's see who's quick on the trigger fingers. Oh, we've got a name of a school, but not on the letter. Let's see. Oh, and Mala's actually gone. Her computer's having a little finicky thing. So A is our answer. And when we get Mala back, we're going to dive in and explore a little bit more. But let's see. There we are. I think you're back. Cool.
Hello, there we go. I'm back. Sorry.
A is our answer.
A is our answer. All right, let's go for A. Let's click option A. All right, so we have a bit of a zoom in over here. What we're going to be looking at are these tiny little holes and these little freckles that we have on this shark's face. Now, what we're looking at here is actually one of the 7 senses that we talked about earlier in the trivia. So sharks do, reminder, have 7 senses, while humans only have 5. If you'd like, you can point along with me. I have my fingers here ready to go. We have our eyes so that we can see everything. We have our nose so that we can smell everything. We have our mouth so that we can taste everything. We have our ears so that we can hear everything. And then we have our fingers so we can feel everything and touch everything. Now, sharks are so cool. They have 2 more on top of that. And one of them is called ampullae of Lorenzini, which is these tiny little freckles that we're seeing right over here. Now, ampullae of Lorenzini are essentially these gel-filled capsules that are all around the face of the shark. And they're essentially electromagnetic sensors that help detect movement and the heart rate of other animals. So sometimes we might see sharks swimming very close to the ocean floor like this. And the reason why this happens is because they're actually using this ampullae of Lorenzini to try and detect the heart rate of any animals that might be trying to hide from them so that they can gobble them up from the sand and eat them. Now, the 7th sense that they have is something called a lateral line, which is essentially a line that goes from their head all the way down their body and up their tail, and it helps them detect movement. So it's really sensitive to movement. So if any fish are swimming on top, underneath, or behind a shark, the shark can still feel it. So it's really, really hard to sneak up on a shark. All right, so that was area A. We have 2 more areas to explore. We have area B, which is kind of near its mouth, and area C near its tail. Let me know which one.
What do we think? I'm going to let our YouTuber first answer, Miss Hunter's class, says C. So we're going to skip B. We'll come back to it, and we'll go straight to C. Awesome.
Sounds good. Let's explore number C. Whoa. What could we be looking at here? This looks a little bit freaky, a little bit funky. My friends, this is actually the skeletal system of a shark. Now, humans have strong, hard bones that keep our body structure and they keep us standing upright. But sharks are actually made out of cartilage. Now, where exactly do we have cartilage? I'll point on our body where we have it. If you take your fingers and very gently place it on your nose, and you can gently wiggle your nose around, you can feel that it's hard, but it's moving, it's bending. That's where we have cartilage. And also on our ears. The tops of our ears are very, very hard, but they're able to move and bend. That, my friends, is cartilage. Now, cartilage is incredibly important to sharks because it's going to help them move around in the in the ocean really, really fast. Now, as you can imagine, sharks are one of the top predators in the ocean. And in order to be a top predator, you got to be able to be really, really fast. And having light skeleton system, right? Having a really light and bendy skeleton system is going to help you do that. I actually have a really cool video here of a great white shark that's going to jump out of the water and eat a seal, which is super, super cool. The only reason they're able to do that is because their skeletal system is so light and bendy because of the cartilage. So if you don't want to watch this video because it's going to be a little bit scary or you don't like anything like that, you can look away. No problem. I will tell you when you can look back. But I see Jesse has his binoculars on. He's ready to watch this. I think it's pretty cool. So here's a cool video of a great white shark hunting. And I've slowed it down for this.
It's one of the best videos of all time. Like, it's just ridiculous that they can do that.
It's so insane. Think about how massive these guys are, right? Like, again, 8 to 10 meters long. Like, these guys are absolutely huge, and they're launching themselves out of the water, and they're eating these guys, right? So it's crazy that these guys can do that, right? It's so crazy how big and strong they are, and they're only able to do that again because of their cartilage skeletal system. All right, last area to explore is area B. So let's click on B and let's see what we're looking at here. All right, there we go. The thing that sets sharks apart is their teeth. Their teeth are so cool, and they're very unique. They're very, very sharp, very, very pointy. Different sharks will have different types of teeth, and their teeth are actually really, really cool. Unlike our teeth that are rooted and embedded in our gums, these guys, their teeth just kind of sit on the surface of their gums. So they don't have roots. So that means that their teeth will fall out pretty easily while a shark is eating. Sharks can typically lose at least one tooth per week, and they're arranged in a conveyor belt row, and they can actually replace a lost tooth within a day. Most sharks have around 5 rows of teeth, but some sharks, like the bull sharks, can have up to 50 rows of teeth, which is absolutely insane. This is a close-up of what their teeth can look like. This is the conveyor belt of teeth in the back. So these are like their backup teeth. These teeth are going to flip up to the front if they lose a tooth, right? These are backup teeth that they have. But a lot of sharks are going to have these angled, sharp, and then again, serrated teeth so that, they can really dig into their food and get a good bite. But again, there are some sharks that don't have these sharp teeth, right? Again, like the basking shark, they are filter feeders. And then there's also whale sharks, which are so beautiful. And they're also filter feeders. They just open their mouth completely wide open. They gulp down a bunch of water. They push out that water. And then they eat kind of all the krill and shrimp that might have gotten caught in that water. Now, whale sharks are the largest fish in our ocean right now. But at one point, there was a shark that was larger than this guy. And I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about. At one point, we did have the megalodon that was larger than even the whale shark, which was, I think it was like twice the size of a whale shark. So it was absolutely massive. All right, my friends. So now that we've learned a little bit more about sharks and their adaptation, let's take a moment to discuss why sharks are considered to be superheroes of the reef. Now, coral reefs are home to thousands of organisms, and sharks help protect them. What they do is they help keep balance in the ocean by helping support the food chain. Now, food chain might be something that some of you guys have heard of before, or this might be a new concept to some of you. I'm going to describe it here with my very freaky fish animations. So at the bottom of the food chain, we kind of have these tiny little fish that like to eat this green, slimy stuff that grows along corals that you might recognize from fish tanks if you have them. They like to eat something called algae. And then these smaller fish are normally eaten by a larger fish, maybe something like a grouper will eat these smaller fish. And then these larger fish will be eaten by sharks, right? And this is what we call a food chain. It goes from the apex predator all the way down to the primary, secondary source, right? So we have this chain here, and this chain here is going to help us keep balance in the ocean. But what exactly do we think would happen if sharks were taken out of the picture? What do we think? Does anybody have a guess? Do they want to tell me what they think would happen?
Let's see. See in the chat, as we are getting late into the program, so we'll see what you guys write in. We've got changes the food chain, changes the thing system, more of the smaller creatures. So you guys are on the ball. You guys do know food chains. That's fantastic. And tell us a little more about it.
Yeah, you'd be absolutely correct. If there's no more sharks in the ocean, unfortunately, there would be too many big fish that would eat up all the small fish. There would be nobody there to eat the algae. So the algae would grow. And unfortunately, our coral reef system would be very, very unhealthy, and not a lot of animals can survive in those conditions. So it's incredibly important that we protect sharks and we keep them in the ocean so that we can do what we need to do to, keep this ocean in balance and keep these healthy ecosystems going. Unfortunately, right now, sharks are being caught a lot by mistake, as a source of bycatch. We use these big fishing nets to catch all these fish, and we can't really control who's getting caught in those nets. So sharks end up getting caught by mistake. So we need to do what we can to reduce the impact on sharks, because as we know, 100 million sharks are being killed every single year. So one last time, I'd like to turn it over to you folks. What do you think are some actions that we could take to maybe help reduce our impact on sharks?
Ooh, let's see, everybody. So feel free to chime in. You guys had some great answers in the chat there too for our last one. But let's see. Come on, take a second, write it in. Innovation in fishing nets, great option, Miss Coburn. So having nets that don't catch sharks instead, don't pollute, Miss Becky's class. Way to go, grade 1, 2s. Those are really good options. Let's see what we've got on YouTube as well. Catch and release, fish less, recycle. Miss Gibson's class, welcome to the chat. You guys rock. That's awesome. Let's see, catch and release. So lots of things. A lot of fishing innovations. We talked about bycatch. So that's really important. And we may well cover one of these things in the Kahoot as well. So these are all good options. And keep your thinking caps on, everyone.
Wonderful. These are all correct, my friends. All of these answers are super, super correct. There are things that we can also do at home, in our own homes, to help protect sharks, right? One thing that we can do is try to eat sustainable seafood. If you're located in Canada and you're going to buy seafood and consume seafood, you can keep an eye out for this Oceanwise logo. It just means that we try to source this fish sustainably. So we've already done the research, and we have recommended this as a more sustainable alternative that you can consume. Another thing that you can do is download apps like the Commit to Act app, where you can track your impact on the environment by inputting the things that you eat, the things that you consume, the things that you're using, how you're transporting around places, and it'll help you and give you suggestions on things that you can do to help make a healthier impact on our earth and on our ocean. Another thing that you can do is really build your own e-card. So if you're creative, you can visit the Green Learning website. You can download an e-card and you can write a message, draw a drawing, maybe create a poem. You can get really creative and submit this worksheet to different people and public figures around Canada and really speak up on issues and how you want to see the earth and the ocean be treated. So this is something that you can do at home or with your family or with your schools as well. All right. Thank you all so much. That is it for me. I had so much fun teaching you all about our ocean. I have a couple of things that I'll give a shout out to at the end of the program, but I know we have a Kahoot to get to. So we'll do that.
Lovely. Well, I want to stress we're going to pass along all these resources, ocean.org, lots of opportunity to keep the learning going when you're done. And I know we're not going to get all your shark questions, but there's already more than we can take in one Q&A. But if you want to share extra with us at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, we will make sure you get those answers. But as Mel said, we're going to dive in first with our Kahoot together. So for those who are new to Kahoot, the faster you answer, the more points you get, and what you win is our everlasting respect. So we're going to find out who's paying attention, have a little bit of fun, test some understanding. So feel free to bring up this game pin, and if you don't want to play live, you can just yell it out in your class. That totally works as well. But let's dive in, and then we are going to get underway with our questions. Bayside, you guys are going to be our first team for Q&A. All right, let's see. Question number 1. Sharks of the world. Dun, 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 dun. 3, 2, 1. All right. True or false? Sharks have bony skeletons like we do. We talked about their skeleton near the end, not too long ago. Are sharks full of bones? Or maybe they've got something different, maybe more like our ears and nose. What is that called again, Mama? What's our thing in our ears and nose?
Starts with a C.
Does indeed. Could be cartilage, perhaps. And so a few of you thought true. Yes, 2/3 of you got this right. Cartilage skeleton. So the only thing that we really find of sharks is like fossils are their teeth, like this awesome megalodon tooth that I just have lying around that I wanted to incorporate. But most of their bodies are cartilage, like our ears and nose. All right. Sharks have been around for how long? 10 million years, longer than people. 55 million years, longer than whales. 150 million years, longer than flowers. Or 450 million years, twice as old as dinosaurs. What do we think? Let's get those answers in. They are one of the oldest groups of creatures on this planet. Let's see what our answers are. Fantastic. Most of you got this yet. Sharks are crazy old. There were sharks before there was like anything that came up on land at all. Before insects, before plants on land, there were sharks. And they look almost identical. Like we can find sharks from way back when, and like the body design is pretty similar. So really, really good answer. Social pelican keeps our lead. All right. You can help us out with this third one, Mal. The Greenland shark is the longest lived vertebrate on Earth, thing with like a backbone. How old can it get? 100 years, 150 years, 200 years, or at least 250 years? Any hints for us?
I know scientists did find this guy with something embedded in its body that was over a couple hundred years old. So I think this guy gets pretty old without giving it away entirely.
I love it. 44 answers in. Yes, at least 250 years. And that's the way we figured that out, is there was literally like, was it a bit of a harpoon or something that was like...
It was like the old harpoon that communities used over 250 years ago to fish. Yeah.
Which is awesome. Like, what a cool story in science. I love it. All right. Fabulous Bear takes our lead, throwing off the leaderboard entirely. One more to go, and then we are going to head to our Bayside Public School for our first question. What can you do to help sharks? Tell people about them, choose sustainable seafood, use reusable materials and don't create litter, or hint, hint, nudge, nudge, all of the above. Usually the answer when I throw that in. So it's too late if you pick one of the others. It is all of the above. 4 seconds to go. Let's see what our leaderboard is. And this is great. Yes, you guys, most of you did a fantastic job with this. That's awesome. All right, let's see our podium, and then we're heading to Bayside. We're going to take at least one from every class. Mr. Nunez, you guys are going to be second, so get ready. Majestic Gecko, you're second, and first for all the marbles, drum roll, please, way to go, is Fabulous Bear. If you are Fabulous Bear, let us know who you are in the chat. Way to go. Wow, Hunley Park is losing their mind, so I take it you're Fabulous Bear. Way to go. Bayside Public School, we're heading to you first. Come on in.
Hi. Okay. Why do sharks have the fins on their back?
Ooh, good question.
Ooh, why do sharks have fins? Maybe Jesse can help me with this one a little bit. But I believe sharks have a fin on their back to help them cut through the water when they come through the surface. I don't actually know too much about it. It might just be a weird adaptation that they have. But
they
I think
help
it's
them maneuver through the water. It's actually one of the things that if sharks don't have a fin, they can't swim. So they need those fins to actually maneuver through the water. The back fin helps them. It all helps them orient in the water in the same way that, like, why do we have 2 legs? We could theoretically hop along, but it's a lot easier to get around with 2 legs. And so it's just an adaptation that all things in the water have. Whales have fins, fish have fins, sharks have fins. It allows them to maneuver through the water and keep in the water column the way they want to be. That's
there we go. Yeah. With sharks' bodies, actually, their bodies are actually being studied by scientists right now because they're so like aerodynamic and so fast. We study their skin and we study their structure to try and make our vehicles and our planes and things like that go faster, just like sharks do underwater. So very cool.
Very cool. Let's head to Merida. Mr. Nunez's class, come on in and take us away. Hello. Hi.
How do sharks survive since the time of the dinosaurs? What
How do sharks?
Have they?
Oh, could you repeat a little bit of that? I'm so sorry. It's just a little hard to hear.
How did sharks survive since the time of the dinosaurs? What about?
Ooh, how did sharks survive? Oh, there's more.
Yep. What adaptations do they have to allow them to do that? That's a great question. Thank you guys so much.
That's a great question. Well, sharks have been around, as we know. They've survived multiple mass extinctions, right? So their adaptations have to be incredibly unique in order to allow them to do it. I think it helps that, they do have smaller stomachs, so they don't need to eat too much in order to energize themselves, depending on what species they are. But I think it helps that being underwater and a lot of the catastrophes that happened were above the surface kind of occurred. I think that really, really helps them survive these mass extinctions that have happened over time. And as things have evolved, even as the water composition has changed, it's happened naturally. So they've had time to adapt their bodies in order to do that. But now, obviously, with things like climate change being introduced and so much bycatch happening and things like that, they're not able to adapt fast enough in order to overcome those things. So they need help where they can get it. And that's where we come in.
Sure, we come in. That's a great question, guys. But they are one of the only groups of animals that have survived all 6 mass extinctions. Like, they're crazy good survivors. And we are still studying that too. Like, that is a fascinating thing. There's very few things that are in that boat. So great question, guys. All right, Hunley Park are winners of Kahoot, I presume. Welcome in, 5th graders.
How many species are there?
Ooh, how many? I actually don't know. There must be like thousands of species of sharks. Like,
I know this, actually. It's about 400. About 400 species of shark. I can find the exact figure. Yeah. You talked about some of the coolest ones, though. If you want to highlight some of the coolest sharks, and I'll find the exact figure, some of your favorites, perhaps.
There's like deep sea goblet sharks that are so weird. They can like literally take their jaw and extend it out of their mouth to like grab a fish in the deep sea and eat it. So weird. There's cookie cutter sharks, which are super small, and they have round mouths. And what they do is sometimes you'll see whales or fish with like little circle cutouts on their body, and it looks like they have holes in their body. It's so gross. But that's what cookie cutter sharks do. They just take like a little mouthful and then they swim off. So there's hundreds of species of sharks, and they're super cool.
There are. You'd think there'd be more. There's actually like way more mammals. There's way more kinds of bat than there are kinds of shark, which is kind of unusual. But about 400, and I'm glad you picked cookie cutter. It's one of my faves too. All right. I'm going to note we're going to go to Miss Hurley's class, Miss Paget's class, and Miss Coburn's class. YouTubers, please do share extra questions. Classes, we did so much interactivity in the middle that we don't have as long a Q&A, but please do email us more, and we'll get you all those shark answers. I love your enthusiasm today. So, Miss Hurley's class, hello, grade 7.
Blake was wondering if sharks have genders and how you can tell.
Ooh, so sharks definitely do have genders, yes. We don't actually know too much about the reproductive health of sharks. Every single shark has a different reproductive story. They have a different biological means of doing it. So it's actually a question that a lot of scientists have been trying to study for a really long time. It's hard to tell, but you can tell sometimes underneath, like there is specific genitalia that you can kind of tell from. Yeah. There we go.
They look like big tubes. They look like long, just like arms under the shark, basically. Like, they don't look like anything special, but those are male. So if you're ever at an aquarium, you can see those claspers underneath the shark. If you look up claspers, you'll see that. There's nothing too untoward about it. So check that out. It's very neat. And sharks are neat too. We didn't talk about this, but like some sharks lay eggs. Some sharks have live birth. Some sharks lay eggs inside themselves, and then the babies hatch inside themselves and come out live. Sometimes the babies eat each other inside the mom, which is crazy. So like, shark reproduction is very cool. I love that we got that question.
Yeah.
All right. Cherokee, Texas. We're heading to you guys. Come on in, Miss Paget's class. Hey.
Hi. Hi, my name's Darius, and I'm wondering, what is the fastest shark?
The fastest shark.
The fastest shark is pretty cool. It has a cool color of the ocean too. It's like a blue shark, but it's called the mako shark, and they swim incredibly fast. They've actually been studied for a really, really long time so that we can figure out how to kind of take that speed and apply it to our vehicles. So we're studying them to learn aerodynamic stuff. They're really, really cool. They're called mako sharks right down there.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. So they can go 75 kilometers an hour. So about like 48, 50 miles an hour. So as fast as your car on like a regular road, which is crazy fast. Yeah. They're one of the faster creatures in the ocean. Cool question, guys. All right, Miss Coburn's class, they asked a great question online. Oh, I can just come to you if you're live. Hey, take us away.
Hey, so we're a remote class, and this is so exciting. We have Emerson here that would like to ask you a question. Is that okay?
Perfect, yeah.
Excellent. Go ahead, Emerson.
How does the shark, and if so,
have you seen it before?
Miss Cover,
What
can
was
you
that?
repeat that for us? Just was a little
Oh,
quiet.
hang on. Of course, we're in a school. It's announcements, right? Emerson, go again.
Do you have a favorite shark? And if so, have you seen it before?
Very cool. Thanks, Emerson.
Oh, do I have a yes? So my favorite shark is going to be a whale shark. I think they are so beautiful. I have not been lucky enough to see one yet. Hopefully one day we'll see. But I do love whale sharks. I've seen a couple other. I love epaulet sharks too. I think they're little cuties. I've seen
Great.
those. Guys.
We had that a few times in the YouTube chat as well. So, guys, please do share additional questions with us after the fact. We'd love to hear from them. Mala, before we bring in our classes to say a big thank you and farewell, is there any final message on sharks you want to leave us with?
Absolutely. You know, sharks, they get a bad rep, and unfortunately, you know, language matters and how we share this knowledge really, really matters. Hopefully today you got to learn something really cool about this animal, and hopefully you want to take this knowledge and share it and with your friends and with your peers and, you know, change that narrative, shift that narrative and tell people how cool these guys are. And, you know, we should care about them and we should care about the impact that we have on our ocean. So if there's one thing I can leave you with, take one new thing that you learned today and share it with 3 people in your lives and keep that conversation going so that we can all protect the ocean.
Amazing. Check out ocean.org. We've got a really cool program for you from them that we're going to highlight to all you teachers after the broadcast as well. We'd love you to fill out a survey, especially if you love today's broadcast. But what we do to wrap up every show, I'm going to go to our live classes to say a big thank you and farewell. So Miss Hurley's class, Huntley Park Elementary, Miss Patty's class, Miss Coburn.